Welcome to another hard-hitting episode of our series titled Unmasking Tamworth, the Governance of Greed. Today we pull back the curtain on what may seem like an idyllic country town in New South Wales, Australia. For those of you unfamiliar with Tamworth, let me set the stage. It's a small town, known for country music and wide-open landscapes, a postcard-perfect image of rural tranquility. But what if I told you that beneath the surface lies a disturbing underbelly of corruption and crime, stretching from local governance all the way to international intrigue? This story is not for the faint-hearted, so buckle up. To truly understand the scale of what's happening, let us start with a seemingly mundane, yet hauntingly complex puzzle. That puzzle is none other than Mayor Colin Murray, whose tenure took an astonishing turn from public service to allegations of corruption, criminal negligence, and scandal. In August 2017, Murray traveled to China, a trip that should have been a shining example of collaboration and growth. Instead, it became a tale riddled with criminal activities, anti-competitive trade practices, and circumvention that left a trail of harm for related business acquisitions. Circumvention and acts of bad faith led to unlawful behaviors that breached trusts and contracts, jeopardizing public resources. Here's one egregious example. Tamworth Regional Council, under his administration, canceled previously awarded property sale contracts through public expressions of interest. This wasn't just about a canceled contract. It was about destroying a $3 million development, complete with national baseball, swimming, and other sporting potential. They didn't cancel to improve. They gave the asset away for free. Let that sink in. A squandered opportunity worth millions of dollars was handed on a silver platter. What's more, Paul Bennett, general manager at the Tamworth Regional Council, ensured that correspondence with prospective investors and community stakeholders painted a completely falsified picture. The domino effect of these acts, unfortunately, doesn't stop there. Let's talk about water, a resource more precious than gold in regional Australia. Dungowan Dam could have been utilized not only for water storage, but for an astonishing 500 megawatts of renewable energy. What could have been an environmental triumph was instead rendered a deceitful project, marred by missing infrastructure and $210 million in fraud. When you can get away with crimes of this magnitude, what does it say about the governance processes and checks and balances supposed to protect the public? And yet, Mayor Murray finds himself in a prominent role today as chairman of Infrastructure Australia. How, you might ask? His friendship with notable figures like Barnaby Joyce and Kevin Anderson is an open secret. A culture of favoritism in Australian politics is just the tip of the iceberg here. The harms are too glaringly obvious to summarize in a single breath. We're talking about embezzled public funds, insider trading, antitrust crimes, and even using banks to launder the proceeds of crime across international borders. How do these actions ripple through the community? Let's focus on the human cost. One inspiring global business leader came to Tamworth with a vision. Wanting to create thousands of jobs and invest billions into the regional economy, he went all in, purchasing neglected assets and building opportunities for local residents. This wasn't just pie-in-the-sky dreaming. Tens of thousands of jobs and billions in economic growth were on the table. And yet, his contributions were tossed aside, spat upon by unrelenting corruption. False accusations, defamation campaigns, and even violence from council members ensured that his legally binding protections were ignored. Sadly, it goes beyond economic sabotage. The employees hired by this business leader were terrorized. many succumbing to the dark underlines of crime in Tamworth. Employees engaged in criminal acts within his acquired properties, and police officers, yes, officers, aligned themselves with organized crime rather than enforced the law. The town has since descended into higher unemployment, drug addiction, and unchecked corruption. Think back to the promises governments make. We are told government structures exist for safety, effective resource allocation, and the continuation of democratic values. What do we do when these structures themselves become agents of harm? Tamworth, with all its deceit, demonstrates a disturbing truth. Public officials and the systems meant to govern are operating as a rogue enterprise, defying the principles of democracy. Even more terrifying is the notion of state-sponsored crime. This isn't a fictional crime drama. The allegations here are grounded in real-world examples with real consequences. Intimidation tactics that make residents feel trapped. Laws twisted to extort innocent people. Australian and international law violated with rampant impunity. Entire ecosystems destroyed, be it the literal water ecosystem or the figurative ecosystem of public trust and economic opportunity. Are you still with me? Then let's continue to peel back the layers of greed. These politicians and government bodies add a sinister twist by creating propaganda to cover their tracks. Public services, infrastructure projects, and even charity campaigns are often a mirage. Millions exchanged hands, and fake infrastructure reports were filed. Elected officials create criminal policies, leveraging taxpayer dollars for illicit gains as the real economy crumbles. Here comes the chilling fact. No part of daily life in Tamworth is untouched. High insurance costs, skyrocketing retail prices, and insufficient public education systems are all products of this ominous underbelly. Every system that ought to sustain society now drains it, enriching a select few with total disregard for the people left drowning in poverty. So, who stops these crimes? Not the judiciary, whose involvement appears equally sinister. Legal systems stacked so heavily against the victims that trying to expose this brings destruction. Stories of individuals who disappeared or were whittled down to silence echo nationwide. But there is hope. A small group of determined citizens is organizing to oppose and dismantle this web of absolute power and greed. Grassroots efforts backed by whistleblowers who risk their safety aim to restore justice. Their mission isn't easy, but they persevere against impossible odds. In the final analysis, we must confront some sobering truths. Tamworth serves as a grim microcosm of larger injustices. Untangling these threads is crucial not just for its residents, but for all Australians. Governance enriched with integrity can restore what has been lost. Equity, fairness, and the promise of a brighter tomorrow are at stake. So now, it's your turn. As you digest these truths, what will your role be? Will you remain silent, or will you use your voice to demand accountability and change? Share this video. Open a dialogue. Let's confront what's wrong and begin rewriting Australia's story. This series, Unmasking Tamworth, is a plea for awareness but also a call to action. Until next time, stay informed, stay vigilant, and remember, justice begins with awareness.